I really think Han shines more as a solo.
What are you talking about?
Guys, I'm not trying to say he should like lead the group. That's not what I'm talking about. But I just think when it comes to certain vocalists, there are vocalists that shines better in a group, and there's vocalists that shines better as a solo. Personally, I feel like members like Felix shines better in a group. You know how he has a lot of the killing parts in the song? Those unique tones work better in a group situation. But for people like Han, or another person that I think of that is Jungkook, like these people, solo shines them way more than group. It's not that they don't shine in the group, but they have too much talent and range for them to be only getting few lines within the song, because they have the ability to carry out the entire song. Who else is kind of like that? Because right now on top of my head, Stray Kids I think is Han. With BTS is Jungkook. Yeonjun, I agree, but at the same time, Yeonjun also doesn't feel like it's being hidden in the group. As in, Yeonjun shines well within the group as well. He shines well as solo, but he also shines well within the group. So, Rose from Blackpink. Okay, that I agree. Rose from Blackpink, because sometimes the Blackpink songs can't handle her musical range. I actually like Rose's personal songs a lot. She gives off a very pop star vibe when it comes to her solos. Yeah. Jennie's solo is good. I also like, actually all Blackpink member has a strong solo potential. Oh, that's interesting. I forgot to mention, within Stray Kids, Seungmin is also another one that I personally feel like he would shine, and he does shine better as solo. Now I sound like, okay, I'm not complaining about Stray Kids, but the Stray Kids vocalists, they are sometimes overqualifying for the group. Okay, like, I'm not trying to put down the group, that's not what I'm saying. But sometimes their vocal ability is more good than what the song requires. So I feel sad that they're not able to show all of this part. You know what I'm saying? I personally, when I heard Seungmin's singing, I think his charm is emotional delivery. But when it comes to Stray Kids songs, there's not always good part to deliver the emotional songs when it comes to title songs. Which is why the solo songs, you're able to show that emotion a little more. Okay, this is gonna be very controversial, but I think even before the whole thing happened within ENHYPEN, I kept saying how Heesung would do well solo. Do you guys remember? I've been saying this since last year. Oh guys, I think he would do well as solo. He would do well as a solo. Well, now we get to see. I still personally would have liked if he stayed in the group and did solo. Cause look, like Han did solo while he's in Stray Kids. But again, we don't know the reason behind it, so I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, my bad. Yeah. Who else would do well as a solo? Taemin from SHINee? He's already well too proven. San? I've never heard San doing solo. Is he good as a solo? I personally felt he was a strong group member because he's so iconic. He adds a color to the group. So, Jongsup from P1 Harmony. Okay, him, I agree. Isn't he doing a solo? I think he's coming up with a new mixtape. I heard there was some release schedule with him. Hongjung 100%, 1000% Hongjung. Yes, as a rapper, I think he is 100% have a strong ability to carry out solo. Who else? Martin? I love Martin, but I personally feel like Martin is Martin because he got his team with him. Do you see where I'm coming from? Well, he would obviously do well as a solo, but I personally feel a lot of the Cortez charm comes from the boys. It's the boys that makes that feeling really strong. So I personally don't know if I would have became a biggest fan of Martin if he solo debuted. Because Cortez, in my opinion, the members balance each other very well. The other parts of Martin balance out with James, balance out with Juhoon, and with Changbin do well solo. I personally like Changbin more in the group. Karina? Aespa? I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical about girl groups. Okay, I could think of one from girl groups that I personally think would do well as a solo. Hani from New Jeans. I think she has vocalist ability for a solo performer. And who else? Natty already proved. Natty from Kiss of Life. She already proved because she basically boosted the group with her solo performance. Longshot? I can't tell for Longshot. You know what? You know how I feel about Longshot is that, they're so new and I haven't seen their charm fully that I don't have enough information about them for me to comment about them. As in, they would do better solo or they would do better in a group. I know they sing well, but we're not talking about just singing well. It's more so of fitting in a group or fitting in a solo. You guys see what the difference is? Jio from Twice? Okay. Now I sound like I'm just hating on girl groups. I swear, I like girl groups, but I personally don't have too many girl group members that I'm musically attracted to. Baekhyun is proven, as well as Kai. EXO has a lot of potential solo. D.O., you guys agree? They all shine really well even as solo. I really can't think of any from girl group. Chun Soyeon, I don't really think of her as a soloist. I always view her as a very strong producer. She has a very strong charm as a production manager. So anyone from Islet, I'm being careful because I don't want to say mean thing. I haven't been charmed by any Islet's members' musical ability. Just personally. I love Eileen's music. You know, I literally listen to it every day. But now I sound like I'm a hater. But at the same time, it's not that girl groups are bad. It's just that boy groups tend to have more members who are a little bit heavier on the musical talent. Am I being misogynist? But it's not just about their vocal ability. It just feels like the male idols tend to have a little bit more population who wants to be more involved in the production stage. Like obviously for girl groups, there are people like Soyeon from Idol, but at the same time, in terms of the ratio, there's way more people within the male, and I think that's probably why I'm leaned more towards liking boy group because they tend to be a little bit more musically involved. Just my personal comment. But I listen to girl group music as much as I do of boy group music. So I'm not saying one is good or not. No. I'm not just assuming. I'm talking about actual credits being on and how much they're participating in the production stage. There tends to be a little bit of a difference. So it's like this. Not all male idol participate in the production, but there's just a little more population within the male idols that tend to be like that. Which is why I feel like Chun Soyeon from G-Idol makes it way more significant. And in fact, okay, here's the thing. In another way, like you guys said, it might also be that the companies don't give the girl idols the opportunity to participate. I definitely do feel that, where male idol companies give the members a strong push. They encourage them to participate. They give them more opportunities. In comparison, I feel like with the girl groups, do they really do that? No, they do, but it's kind of like not as a serious push as a boy group. Why is that? Because music field, in my opinion, is one of the few fields relatively where this is very sensitive topic. But I personally, I'm getting into very serious topic. I personally believe a lot of the fields out there are very predominantly male when it comes to high level, whether it's science or investment or athletics. But in comparison, I feel like music field is relatively more equal in that sense. Not just gender-wise, also racially. There's a lot of things where it tend to be a little bit more fair. But at the same time, I do feel like when it comes to K-pop groups, the girl groups tend to get a little bit less of a say or participation in the production. And I'm wondering, is that because the company isn't giving them the chance, or is it because they themselves are less inclined or less interested? I wonder what the reason is. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all this serious, but I was seriously kind of thinking of the reason why. This is why you're getting canceled on Twitter? But at the same time, I mean, I understand, but I just want to have a genuine conversation. I'm not trying to hate or anything. You guys get where I'm coming from. Even if I weren't a streamer, I would have probably thought about these kind of things. Oh, right. No, there is definitely this aspect where girl idol tend to be a little bit more categorized and classified as a product, and male idol tends to be viewed more as an artist. There is 100%. But why? Because in music field, there's a lot of female artists that are viewed as very respectable musicians. So it's not that it's not even working in the market. Why can't? Maybe it's because there has been less history of it. So people like Chun Soyeon, maybe it's because there hasn't been more case study. So no, I was silent for a second because I was thinking for a second. So I think the companies need to see a case of the female producers selling well, then they'll be like, oh, that's working. We should also do that. Okay, can I go into just a little bit more cancelable statement? I don't even care at this point. You guys know I go crazy about this. Let me just get canceled or whatever. I don't even care. I'm afraid that what I'm about to say is going to make some people think as if I'm sucking up and saying nice things just to, you know, I don't want to give off this idea like, oh, by the way, I'm 6 feet and all women are queen, That's not what I'm even trying to say, but isn't it unfair for women? Like in most job field? Isn't that true? It's very obvious in my opinion. I don't know why that's not. And the period cramps. I'm 6 feet. No, it's just no. I swear I know I sound like a performative male, but and here's the thing, guys. I'm not even a nice person. But I just don't like this idea where previously, historically, compared to what 1700s, imagine if the fairness and the unfairness of women was 100 to 10. Now I think it's getting closer and closer, but it's still like 60 to 40 or 50 to 49, or you know what I mean. It's getting closer than before, but it doesn't mean it's completely on the same level yet. But I don't like the fact that sometimes people kind of say it as if, oh, like now it's 100% fair. Like, because I personally don't feel like it's 100% fair. Do you know why I know this? Because if you were to ask me if I want to be born as a girl or a guy in this day right now, guys, I'm 100% choosing guy. There's so much, like the fact that I would 100% choose guy means there's so much benefit as a guy. So I'm not even someone who's fighting hard for the woman's right or anything like that. I just personally feel, isn't it obvious to be addressed? I know I sound like a performative male. I'm sorry, but this is just what I really think. Yeah, guys, I probably am misogynistic and sexist, and I probably do a lot of that too. But by the way, I manipulate women. I gaslight women. I do all of that. By the way, just letting you know. You just figured that out? No. I've always had this thought, but I just wanted to share that thought with you guys. Obviously, there is also a downside of being a guy. There obviously is. And now that I think about it, okay. This is just, my personal yapping. Don't take it too serious. I think the reason why some people find it hard to see it is because the unfairness and the disadvantage you get as a male is not equivalent of females. What I mean by that is things aren't just numbers where this amount of inequality makes up for this amount of inequality. That's why both parties sometimes have trouble seeing the other side. What are you on about? Do you guys not get what I'm saying? The pros and cons exist for both gender, but at the same time, those pros and cons don't match one to one, which as a result, some people find it hard to grasp the inequality because the areas that the pros and cons exist is different, such as when males have pros and cons over security, and meanwhile, you believe both have the same amount of problems? No, I believe both have problems, but I still feel like the woman's issue is a little bit heavier. Because if I was born as a girl, the number one thing I would be upset for is the career limitations. And you might be like, oh, you could do whatever you want. Like, yes, but it's gonna be harder in certain fields. And sometimes it's just the nature of that field. But sometimes it's also just the system that was built before. The whole reason why I started this talk is because we started from this K-pop and why girl groups gets less credit and less participation in the music. And I personally feel like this is not because of inability of girl group idols. It's simply because of how it has been in the past and it has been passed on, and that's why it is like this right now. Does that sort of make sense? And we know this is true because we already see a lot of female artists being successful as individual artists, not as a simply product. There is still sort of this idea of female singers being sold as a product, but I think it has gotten way better in the recent years compared to 90s or 70s. Oh, I'm not even trying to get into the whole red pill incel. Guys, in my opinion, normal people don't talk about that kind of thing. I don't want to get into any of that. I don't want to get into. Neither am I supporting like extreme feministic, like, oh, we should take away all men's right. Like, I'm not trying to side for any extreme things. I just want to, yeah. Because sometimes when you're in the online world, there's too many extremists and they go so far. They're like, we should all kill men. Like this, we should just kill all men. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah. Wow, this became way more serious than I thought. All men should be born in the prison and have to prove their way out. That's crazy. These are the things that I'm scared when it comes to getting canceled online. Because, guys, we don't know who's gonna take this clip and upload to Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. Posting this on Twitter right now. No! you shouldn't get canceled for this. I feel like we already live in a world where people get canceled for things that shouldn't get canceled. So even though I'm not a celebrity or anything like that, when I see celebrities like idols, they get hated actually for nothing. Have you guys noticed that lately? Sorry, this is me yapping even more. I see these idols and it used to be like this. Like they commit a crime and they get canceled, right? And then it got to the point where they do something that's not illegal but morally a little bit wrong and they get canceled. Now in 2026, you don't even do something wrong and you get canceled. So I don't think people need a reason anymore. I heard there was Bangchan recently. Who else? Wonyoung or Wonhee. Why is Wonhee getting hate? Guys, so nowadays, when I hear this story, my genuine reaction is this. My genuine reaction is, wait, why are they getting canceled? This is literally my reaction to every single news. Like, wait, so why? And you know what's the funny part? In my opinion, like hating in the K-pop field is weird because I'm not even saying like, oh, K-pop fans are weird. That's not what I'm talking about. Hear me out. There's so many criminals and terrible politicians out there. And among all the people in the world, among all of them, deciding to hate on these people is just not worth the time and energy, in my personal opinion. That negative energy is deserved elsewhere more, rather than like the idols and how they hold the strawberry. And yeah, we need to actually use that energy for social economic state of the world instead of like for music. I feel like we just need to enjoy. It's entertainment field. We just need to enjoy and that's it. Or like how they drink water. Not talking about how I drink water. I wouldn't be too surprised if I get canceled for how I drink water. I still think when it comes to crime, guys, crime I 100% understand. But like outside of legal issue, I don't know. That's when it starts to get iffy. But anyway, hopefully I don't sound too much like saying things just to be like, oh, by the way, I'm 6 feet and all women are queen. I really don't want to give off that energy. I really don't. Because that looks desperate. I don't like that. Kind of yucky today. Me? You done mansplaining? I'm sorry, girl. My apology. You're so desperate. You're always yucky. Look at these women hating. Let me switch sides real quick. Bro is the CEO of mansplaining. That's what I majored in college. You know, one day this is gonna come back to me. You know how it's gonna come back to me? One day, someone's gonna expose my extreme misogynistic behavior and they're gonna bring up this clip and they're gonna be like, oh, he said all of this, but look at him turning his back and doing this. My words are going to haunt me back. But it's okay. I wasn't lying, so it's fine. You have worse clips? I definitely do.